I'm going to give you another set of percentages here. The vast majority of problems that arise in your life should be solved immediately, like 85% of them. Resolved immediately. Make a decision, massive certainty, take action, it's gone.
That's how you start to overcome it. So what I realized, when I get to that point where I want to quit, everybody, to get to the point where they want to quit, this is what happens.
Make sure you understand the significance and how you go about your life. You are the master of your destiny.
That means without a lot of deliberation. You've got to start to build a habit of being decisive. Successful people, happy people, leaders are decisive people. And I believe somewhere, if there's 100 problems, challenges in life, 85 of them should be decided immediately with not a lot of deliberation, and then certainty and massive action will eliminate that challenge and that problem most of the time. It's the people who procrastinate on the problem or ignore it or think it might go away that gives that problem time to magnify, to fester, to grow, to where now it's become bigger than it needed to be. Second point, get clear on what this problem really means. Is this a problem that's really going to matter in 5 years? Really? Because what we do is, we talked earlier about meaning. What we do is most people, a problem comes up and we begin to flood ourselves.
The mind tells you, let's go home. Let's take a warm shower. Let's get some food. This is not right. This is that. If you cannot answer the questions at that moment, because your mind's going to start giving you all these questions. And if you can't answer them, you're going to quit. What I realized when I was going through Buds, Ranger School, all this sort of 100-mile race, 200-mile races, pull-up records, my mind would come creeping in. My mind said, look, brother, we've done all these other things. You've proven yourself. You're good. If I didn't have the answer to respond to my mind and say why I'm here, why I'm doing this, you will always lose that fight. You have to have the response to what your mind is going to tell you.
When they stack it, this is a pattern most people go into, and they lose perspective on how really important this problem is. They lose perspective. They get foggy because they've increased their stress levels so high that now the problem is difficult to solve because you've lost perspective on really how big of a deal it is. And so make sure you're very clear. Is this something that's going to matter in 5 years? Because if it's not one of those types of problems, for the most part, massive action, 85%. We're going to talk today about the 15% of the time where it requires a deliberation and a process to solve it. But don't be conflicted or confused into thinking most of the things that arise in your life, most of the time your challenge is you're not solving it quickly enough. You're not being deliberate. You're not being decisive. You're not getting totally certain. Certainty is so huge. Flood yourself with certainty, the reasons it'll work over and over again. And then most people don't understand you can obliterate most problems with just massive action.
A lot of people think self-talk works. It does, but it doesn't work without the suffering before your mind starts saying we need self-talk. So what I tell myself is I go back to the months and years of preparation to get to that day. And I'm telling myself, it's 3:30 in the morning, and I'm looking at my shoes, and I want to go out there and run 30 miles. I have to, in that second, in that moment of this self-talk, my mind saying, you gotta find more, you gotta find more. I once again calm down, go back into my mind, and I have to reflect back on the shit I did to get here. And that becomes my self-talk. Self-talk does not work unless it is real. Most of us lie to ourselves in the self-talk. It doesn't work. It has to be real. It has to be something that you've done to make it really work.
I see people hem and haw and make excuses all the time when challenges arise, and it would have just been solved if you'd have decided, you'd have been totally certain, and you'd obliterate that problem with some massive action. Now, in order to get stressed about the problem, there's a few things that you have to do that you're going to be negative for you. Number one thing most people do to increase the stress level unnecessarily on a problem is you focus on the pressure that's aggravating you. In other words, you begin to focus on what the pressure means. You increase what it really means in the grand scheme of life, and you give it more energy than it needs. This is something you need to stop doing. Number two, You give this stressor like a disempowering meaning is what I call it. It begins to make you think, quite frankly, you're going to lose. What stress really is when a problem comes up is the fear of loss. And what you do is you begin to give this a disempowering meaning and you begin to feel like you're going to lose something, which is why having a process means so much to me, because when I know I have a process to solve a problem, I'm so much less fearful of the loss or the stress that it's going to cause me. And so just know.
Listen to that. Feel that. Let it flow through your veins. Your mind is the perfect weapon. What you think, there so you shall be. You have got to understand that you have to take complete control of your life and master your destiny. Your mind is a perfect weapon. It can build or it can destroy. But no matter what, it is up to you to make the right decisions in your life and carry on. Mastering your destiny. And how far are you willing to take yourself? There are going to be many people that are going to try to interrupt your destiny. There are going to be many people in your life that are going to try to pull you back.
Go like a bat out of hell. Go like you've got something to prove. Go with a chip on your shoulder. Go knowing that you're going to face danger. Go knowing that you're going to have to stand up for yourself and you're going to have to fight for what you believe. Go knowing that you've got to get stronger. Go knowing that right now, you're not the person you need to be in order to be successful. Go now, knowing that failure is guaranteed. Go now, knowing that in that failure, you will learn what you need. And by being willing to face that failure and being willing to learn from that and putting all of your energy into getting better, into taking responsibility, into focusing who you want to become. But you've got to do it with everything you've got. Anything less is guaranteed failure.
There are going to be many obstacles in your life that's going to try to take you down. But I'm here to let you know right now that your destiny is in your hands. And you got to stand tall. And you got to push forward. And you got to believe. And you got to fight. And you got to push. Because you are the master of your destiny. Now, what do you do with it? It's an unknown thing. Life is an unknown thing. But it's always been said that it's beautiful. As long as you're living, it's beautiful. Now, what do you do with it? Are you confused? Are you lost? Are you lost in the wilderness and you don't even know where you need to go and how far you can go? Are you feeling weak? Do you feel that you can't carry on because you don't know what your destiny is? Strength doesn't spell weakness. It's time to be powerful. It's time to be strong. It's time to look up.
The trouble with not having a goal is that you can spend your life running up and down the field and never score. And that's where people lose years of their life. There's so much busyness in running up and down the field. There's so much sense of action and accomplishment that they realize that there's no objective because they don't know what they're reaching for. They don't know what their goal is. And as deadly simple as that sounds, step number one, have a goal. Make it specific. Make sure you know the rules of the game you're playing. Make sure you know what a win looks like. In fact, that may be the most important question that you could ask yourself. The most pointed thing that you could determine in your life is to know, what does it look like to win?